Jesus was praying in a certain place, and when he had finished, one of his disciples said to him, "Lord, teach us to pray just as John taught his disciples." Jesus was praying in a certain place, and when he had finished, one of his disciples said to him, "Lord, teach us to pray, just as John taught his disciples." I think it was about 3 years ago or so. I was a deacon, and I went down to visit the college, Benedictine College in Kansas. And I wanted to stay with the monks or pray with the monks. And then I ended up seeing some people that I knew, and it's a very devout college, and lots of young people go to Mass regularly, if not daily, there. And I went down there, and there was a chapel, I don't know, maybe about the size of the sanctuary or smaller, this part of it. And I was unsettled. I was distracted and anxious. And I was I always say this, but maybe it's not. I was kind of like a puppy, where it's like, oh, squirrel, squirrel, oh, squirrel, squirrel, okay, squirrel. And there was this young woman who was, either she had already become fully professed and was a religious sister, or she was on her way, and she was studying at Benedictine, and she was there. And I think I had a brief conversation with her prior to Mass starting, and she was a really profound person. And I'm in the back of this chapel, like before Mass is starting, and I'm unsettled, I'm distracted. And I see her kneel down to pray. And I knew she was in communion with God. I knew she was in communion with God. Her face, her body, the peace. Have you ever seen someone pray? Have you ever seen someone pray? And you say, in your heart, something stirred, and you say, I want that. The disciples see Jesus at prayer, and something in them moves, and they say, I want that. Jesus, teach me to pray. Recently, I had a conversation with a young man at Applebee's who is a really profound young man. And I asked him, like, when you go down to the depths, if you go down to the depths, what do you find? What do you discover? And he said something so beautiful. Belonging and a relationship with God. And you and I all desire that. We all desire belonging. Whether you're young, you're married, single, divorced, in college, older, priest, we all desire belonging. And we all desire this relationship with God. And what's so hopeful about Christianity is that this is offered to all. And this happens in prayer. They look at Jesus, at prayer, and they see a belonging, that he belongs to someone. And they want that. And he has a relationship with God, and they want that. What do you think was happening in Jesus' heart when the disciples approached him and said, "Lord, teach us to pray"? Finally, I've been wanting this for you for so long. I want you to have this belonging. And so he teaches them to say this: Our Father. Our Father. Belonging to God and to each other. And a relationship with God. It's available to you. Have you seen someone pray? Two Sundays ago and prior, I went on vacation to the glorious town of Osceola, Wisconsin. And I lived something. I was given something. And I was changed. And I want that for you. Today, the church asks us to think about natural family planning. A very popular thing to think about. Natural family planning is not easy. When you talk to couples, if they talk and they share openly with you, who are really trying to practice it, trying to be faithful to Christ, they'll say it's not always a bed of roses. But the flip side of it, it's worse. And so they stay in it. And how can they? Except by having communication. What I've discovered is that when you and I listen to God, we listen to each other more deeply. We listen to each other better. And when we don't listen to God, we don't listen to each other very well. And natural family planning is about communication. Communication with God and communication with each other as spouses. To say, is God for us? Is God for us or no? Can God be trusted or no? When we pray, Our Father, and ask for our daily bread, will He give it to us or no? And so we enter on this journey together of saying, I sense God is asking something of me that's not easy. But I know the flip side of it. It's worse. That's why the church stands in the truth, even when it's unpopular. And it's unpopular. If you practice natural family planning, you're in the minority. And people can think you're crazy. And so what gives us the strength to continue? Except this communication, this belonging to our Father, and this belonging to each other. This belonging to a people that I can walk with, that I can trust. You and I, when we go down to the depths, we discover belonging and a relationship with God. And that is for everyone.